Quantum immortality, tell me more. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little personal. The moon's up. A little something personal here. So I've been low-key studying quantum physics since Sheldon Cooper was introduced to me by my mom, Janet, back in 2013. Yeah, that's Sheldon. Okay, so it was just curiosity over this sitcom because my mom was obsessed about it, right? My mom loved the Big Bang Theory, so when I and her hit our 7-year not speaking, I became obsessed with Big Bang Theory. I watch it all the time, right? Because my mom loved it, and then young Sheldon, of course. So, but we haven't spoken, me and my mother, in over a decade. So, um, quantum physics is like just a little obsession of mine on the side, right? Not because I wanted to learn math or equations. I don't like math, but quantum physics keeps circling the same questions. Mystics and witches and psychologists have always asked, right? What is reality? What is consciousness? And what does it mean to continue when the body dies, right? I'm not here as a physicist. I'm here as a woman who studies patterns and as a psychologist who watches how the mind protects itself, right? In trauma, what the mind does. As a witch who understands symbols before they become stories, like why symbols are so important, right? So I want to talk about quantum immortality. It's one of my favorite topics. Not as fantasy, not as promises, but more as a teaching to introduce you to it. So quantum immortality is not ancient wisdom, right? It's a modern thought. It's one interpretation of quantum mechanics, right? The many worlds theory. Multiple universes, right? Okay, so the many worlds theory, in the short version, every time reality could go more than one way, it does, right? It branches. Outcomes, divergences. Quantum immortality suggests that from your own point of view, you would only ever experience as the branches that you would survive, right? Not because you're special, right? Not because you're chosen, but because awareness can't observe its own absence, right? That's the idea. So I'm going to do what the goddess always does. I'm going to slow this down, right? Try to strip it of ego and try to explain this here. Okay. So psychology. So from a psychological standpoint, right? Quantum immortality hits 3 human needs. First, terror management, right? So the mind doesn't like its own extinction, doesn't like the idea of that, so it never has. So when a concept whispers, you don't experience death, the nervous system exhales. Second, you have survivor logic, right? Anyone who has lived through trauma, okay, and this is very important, accidents or near-death moments, already feels this intuitively. I shouldn't be here right now. I shouldn't be standing here right now, right? But I am. So the brain tries to make a meaning out of it. The brain tries to calm the nervous system, right? By saying you're here for a reason then, right? And quantum immortality offers that story, right? And then there's the third part, and this is important, it's control. The ego loves the idea, like, that gets rid of finality, that reduces it, right? It loves the loophole. But psychology also teaches us this: just because an idea comforts the psyche does not mean it reflects external truth, right? And the goddess doesn't lie to soothe you. She never has. Goddess teaches you don't lose yourself, right? So the danger of misunderstanding all of this is where I have fallen off the path, right? Quantum immortality doesn't mean you're protected. It doesn't mean you escape consequences, no, because you can timeline jump and wake up with a shattered pelvis and broken bones, right? It doesn't mean you live forever in beauty. It doesn't. If anything, if the theory is literally taken literally, it's kind of dark. Survival at any cost. Survival in diminished form. Who comes to mind? Survival without meaning. And this is where my witchcraft steps in, because witches understand something physics forget. Life without quality is not a blessing. Continuation without wholeness is not a victory. No. Goddess doesn't cling, she cycles. Right? So, quantum theory hasn't been around as long as the ancients, right? Odin, Persephone, Aphrodite. So long before quantum theory, witches always spoke of threads and paths not taken. Not infinite lives, right? But choice points, tower moments. In witchcraft, you don't jump timelines unconsciously. You align. And your alignment is not about surviving every outcome. No, it's about choosing one that keeps your soul intact, right? Witches walk with warrior wisdom. Quantum immortality asks, do you continue, right? The goddess asks, at what cost do you continue, right? And I think that's the more sacred question. At what cost do you continue, right? So this is what I offer for anybody who's made it this fucking far, right? I offer you, stripped of fantasy, grounded in what wisdom I have earned in my 49 years, this life, and the reincarnations I remember, and my psyche. You don't need quantum immortality to be eternal. You're already part of a system that recycles energy, right? Memory, impact, and story. Your body will end, yeah. Your awareness will change form. Your influence never vanishes. Psychology calls it symbolic immortality. Witchcraft calls it the ancestral current, right? Physics calls it conservation. Different languages, guys, same truth. And as a wordsmith and someone who loves words and reading and understanding Sheldon Cooper, the way he thinks and does, I'm constantly looking up stuff, Googling shit, right? So that integration I'm always talking about, where science, psyche, witchcraft all meet, quantum physics humbles my intellect, right? Psychology humbles my ego. Witchcraft humbles my soul, right? And when they're all balanced, you don't have to chase the loopholes in death. You deepen your presence in life right now. I stopped asking, how do I escape in the end? And I started asking, how do I live so fully that at the end, when I'm gone, my words will still live on, my music will still be played, right? Quantum immortality is not a promise, it's a mirror. Once again, it shows us how badly we want to continue, how afraid we are to disappear, how powerful awareness feels when we imagine ourselves as infinite. Goddess doesn't offer infinity as an escape. She offers meaning in the cycles, the return. Live well, live awake. Live in a way that doesn't require loopholes in the universe to justify your fucking existence. That's real immortality, right? Right? I got new music out. Genesis rewritten. Lilith's View is out now. Faces of Death album is coming with the February full moon. It's the 5 goddesses of death that I know well. Persephone with the Morrigan, Hecate, Nefertiti's, Hell,